Hello everyone. Let's review shlokas 150 and 151 in Lalitha Sahasranamam. mārtāṇḍa bhairavārādhyā mantriṇī nyasta rājyadhūḥ tripureśī jayatsenā nistraiguṇyā parāparā satya GYānānā'nandarūpā sāmarasya parāyaṇā kapardinī kalāmālā kāmadhuk kāmarūpiṇī. Let's take a look at the meanings of the namas. mārtāṇḍa bhairavārādhyā is the first nama here. There are two ways to look at it. mārtāṇḍa bhairavārādhyā. So mārtāṇḍa bhairava is one of the 64 bhairavas. Bhairava is a fearful or formidable form of Shiva. Ārādhya means worshipped. Therefore, mārtāṇḍa bhairavārādhyā means worshipped by mārtāṇḍa bhairava, who is one of the 64 bhairavas. Another way to look at it is mārtāṇḍa bhairavārādhyā. Mārtāṇḍa is sun and Bhairava again is Shiva, Ārādhya, worshipped by sun and Bhairava. So the Bhairavas are considered to be the kshetrapalas of all the Shakti Pitams, and therefore they all worship Devi. And the sun is also one of the Panchadasi upasakas of Devi, and therefore the sun worships Devi. So mārtāṇḍa and Bhairava worship Devi. So if you look at Devi in the Navadurga forms, Kushmanda is considered to be the energy of the sun. So once there were two asuras who were praying towards Shiva, and these two asuras were doing such good penance that they were glittering. So the sun saw that something was glowing on the earth. So the sun was curious and he came close to just find out what was going on. But unfortunately, because of the sun's excessive heat and radiance, the two Asura brothers were reduced to ashes. This made Shiva very angry and therefore he killed the sun. And obviously, if the sun is not there, the world is in a disarray. So it is said that Parvati became the energy of the universe. She became the sun. So Ku, Ushma, Anda. Ku means little, Ushma means warmth, and Anda means egg. So she became the sun. And then she also, with the help of Amrita, and she took some blood from sage Kashyapa and Aditi, who are the parents of sun, and with that she revived the sun. And therefore she placed him back where he belongs, and the two Asura brothers were also revived. So the sun and Devi have this close relationship, and therefore he is a Panchadasi Upasaka also. And we've seen about Bhairava. Bhairava, as we said, is a fierce form. There's Bhaya Arava. So Bhayam means fear. So his form is such that he can invoke fear. And it is said that he took this form in order to control the ego of Brahma. And Brahma used to have 5 heads. And he thought, I have 5 heads and Shiva has 5 heads, so I'm equal to Shiva. And in order to control that ahankara of Brahma, it is said that Shiva took this fierceful Bhairava form and plucked the 5th head of Brahma. That is one story associated with Bhairava. Also, another story associated with Bhairava is in the Dārikāvatam. So there was once an Asura called Dārika. And this Asura had gotten a boon from Brahma that he can only be killed by a woman. And as we all know, in those days in the battles, women did not participate. Therefore, this made him invincible. And so he got very powerful, and obviously with power, he became very arrogant, and he also became a tyrant. In addition to the power that he got from Brahma, he had also married a woman called Mandodari. She had a special boon, and she was having a mantra, and as long as she's chanting that mantra, nobody can kill her husband. So that way she can be Saubhagyavati. So it was her practice. Whenever Dārika is in a battle, she'll chant it constantly, and therefore Dārika cannot be killed. So all this together, Dārika became someone who was committing a lot of atrocities, torturing everybody. So everybody reached out to Shiva for help, and so Shiva created Bhadrakali with the specific purpose of killing Dārika. And so Bhadrakali went to battle with Dārika, and then she finds out that Mandodari's boon is preventing her from killing Dwarika, and therefore she tricks Mandodari, and therefore she is able to kill Dwarika. But what happened is, with this fierce battle with Dwarika, Bhadrakali had this intense anger. Even after killing Dwarika, her anger did not subside. Now, with Dwarika gone, this anger is being directed at the rest of the world, and the rest of the world cannot take it. So they are all reaching out to Shiva again, saying, please do something, because she's very angry. So Shiva takes the form of a baby, and then he cries out loud. And the baby's cry brings up the maternal instincts in Bhadrakali, and therefore she is taking the baby on the lap and she is feeding. And Shiva at that time also sucks out all the anger, and that's she becomes calm. So that baby is called as Bhairava. And out of that baby came 8 Bhairavas. We call them Ashtanga Bhairavas. And those Ashtanga Bhairavas married the Ashtamatrikas, Brahmi, Mahindri, etc. I'll find their names in Khadgamala. And so the union of those Ashtabhairavas with the Ashtamatrikas created, each one had other 8 sons, and therefore together 8 times 8, 64 Bhairavas. And these Bhairavas all safeguard the Shakti Pitams. Another legend associated with Mārtāṇḍa Bhairava in Maharashtra and all, Mārtāṇḍa Bhairava is referred to as Khandoba. So Khandoba is also considered as a form of Shiva. It is said that there were 2 asuras, Mani and Malla, who also had a lot of power, and one of their favorite pastimes for these 2 asuras is to go torture sages and saints. So when they're all doing their rituals, they'll go and interrupt and they will bother them. So once the Saptarishis were doing their pujas and rituals and they bothered them, so the Saptarishis reached out to Shiva and asked for help. And it is said that Shiva came on a white horse along with his wife, and then there was also all this Trishul, etc. And then he also had a dog along with him. And Khandoba had a fight. There was a battle with Mani, Malla and Khandoba for 6 days. And at the end of it, Shiva was able to subdue both Mani and Malla. And Mani at that time had realized what they had done, and therefore he was repentant, and he asked to be forever with Khandoba. So in Khandoba temples, Mani is already present. But Malla was not repentant and still felt like what he did was right. And he also, when Shiva was kind enough to ask him what boon he wanted, Malla said he wanted more human flesh, and therefore Shiva destroyed him. So that's why Khandoba is also called as Mallari. Malla Ari. Ari means enemy. So Mārtāṇḍa Bhairava is also Khandoba. So Mārtāṇḍa bhairavārādhyā means one who is worshipped by sun and Bhairava. mantriṇī nyasta rājyadhūḥ. mantriṇī is the minister, prime minister of Lalitambika. Nyasta means leaving. Rajya means empire. Duhu means it's kind of off, like in the take off, hand off, it is that off. So what this means is mantriṇī nyasta rājyadhūḥ means Lalitambika entrusted the responsibility of governing the empire to mantriṇī. So Lalitambika is the queen, so she appointed mantriṇī as the prime minister. So mantriṇī in the tantric tradition is also called as Rajamatangi or Rajashyamala. So many people might be aware of Shyamala Dandakam. It's a very popular composition by Kalidasa. And in that he says, Manikya Veena Upalalayantim Madalasam Manjulavagvilasam Mahendra Neela Dyutikomalangim Matanga Kanyam Manasasmarami. So Matangi is considered to be the daughter of sage Matanga. It is said that as a result of his boon, she came on a blue lotus. She was born as a daughter for him. And you can see in that sloka, he is saying, Manikya Veena Upalalayantim. So she is gently handling a Manikya Veena. So the one who holds the Manikya Veena, we all know Veena is associated with Saraswati. So Raja Matangi is considered to be the goddess of speech. So in the tantric version, she is the Saraswati. So she is the goddess of music, speech, all the arts, etc. And so that's why Manjula Vagvilasam. Vagvilasam means her vocabulary, her ability to speak, and that is lovely because she is the goddess of speech. And also, if you look at in Sanskrit, Mati means mind. So Matha means thought. So Matangi is one who's capable of translating the thought into speech. So, if you see, there are four stages of sound. The first stage of sound is called as para, and that para is the complete totality of all the sounds that are possible in the universe. That is the para. And then from para, it becomes pashyanti, and then from pashyanti, it becomes madhyama. At the madhyama stage, it is a thought, and then that madhyama becomes vaikari, which is the articulation of that thought into speech. So when the thought becomes speech, that's when sound becomes real, right? Until then, all the sound is contained inside our mind. We can hear it, but others cannot hear it. So the vaikari is the manifestation of the sound. That's when it becomes real, something that is tangible for all of us to perceive. So Matangi is also the goddess of manifestation. So Lalitambika is capable of granting all the desires, and mantriṇī is that manifestation power of Lalitambika. And mantriṇī is also one of the Dasa Mahavidyas. The Matangi is one of the Dasa Mahavidyas, and she is the ninth Dasa Mahavidya. So there is another reason why we call her mantriṇī as the goddess of speech. She is one who is who's owning all the alphabets in Sanskrit, and any mantra is actually a combination of all these alphabets, and therefore for any mantra siddhi we need mantriṇī's blessings, and that's how we are able to. And there is one more, Rajamatangi is considered to be goddess Meenakshi. So it's said that in Meenakshi Amman temple they have a Matangi chakra, and if you also see, goddess Meenakshi will have a parrot, because the parrot can reproduce sound, and it can hear something and then produce it. Therefore that represents that she is the goddess of speech. Tripureśī, Tripura Ishi. So Tripuram means the triad of reality. So if you look at everything that we experience in this world, there is a experiencer, there is a experienced, and there is the process of experiencing. Pramatur, Prameya, Pramana. This is the triad of reality. Because we are all under Maya, we all don't know that we are one and the same, right? The ultimate reality and the manifested form, we don't know that we are one and the same. And therefore, for us, there is always a subject-object differentiation. So the subject is always us. We are considering ourselves separate from the world. Therefore, subject is always us. Object is whatever it is that we are interacting with, and there is a process of experiencing it. Very simply, if we say, I am watching a movie. I is me, and we all can have any association of that me, right? For some people, it is their body. For some people it is their capabilities, whatever that identity. I can be many things for many people, but there is always a I, and I in this case am watching a movie. The movie is the one that is experienced, so that is the object, and watching is the process of this subject interacting with that object. So this is called as the triad of reality. And when we recognize that all these three are same, that time the person is supposed to attain liberation. So she is the triad of reality, and Ishi means ruler. So she is the ruler of the triad of reality. Another thing about Tripureśī is the Chakreshwari of the second Avarana in Sri Chakra. So if you look at the Sri Vidya tradition, Sri Chakram is used as an instrument to attain liberation. So the Sri Chakram has nine layers. We call them Avarana, enclosures if you will. And in the center is the Bindu. And this Bindu is the source of creation. It is Lalitambika, who is the Shiva and Shakti put together. And that's where everything originates. That is the ultimate reality. So there is a descent of creation. From that single source comes all these manifested forms that we can see in the universe. So now, as the creation has happened, everything in this universe is a manifested form of that ultimate reality. And all of us are also that manifested form of ultimate reality. But what happens during the process of creation is there is a Maya that completely hides the fact that we are one and the same. Therefore, the manifested form forget that they are that limitless reality. Therefore, we become limited within the form and within the whatever. If it is a human being, then we are limited by what human beings can do. If it is a animal, it's limited by what that animal can do. So that limit becomes a part of the manifested forms, and then the Maya hides that all. So we are all standing outside of the 9 avaranas, and the process of attaining liberation is now from outside going inside. So the first avarana is called as Trailokya Mohana Chakra. That means that is the place where everyone who's infatuated with the world, Trailokya Mohanam. Mohanam means enchanted. So enchanted with the gross objects in the world. So that's where everybody is. And if you see in the first layer, there is all these Siddhi Devis, there is Ashtamatrikas. Once a sadhaka attains all their blessings and is able to proceed further in their sadhana, then at the second layer, the first person they will encounter is Matangi. Matangi is mantriṇī. So any mantra, and people use whatever mantras they are doing sadhaka on, they will use that. And in order to get that benefits of that mantra, mantriṇī's blessings are needed. So if they gain the blessings of mantriṇī, then they will be able to get the blessings of the second avarana's Chakreshwari, who is tripureśī. So in the second avarana, who will we encounter? The yoginis there are Kama-karshini, Sparsha-karshini, Shabda-karshini. So these are all the people who are attracting all of this. So Kama-karshini means one who attracts all the desires. So that particular layer is called as Sarvasha Paripuraka Chakram. So Sarva Asha. Asha means hopes and desires. Paripurakam means fulfillment. So Tripureśī is capable of granting the ability to get all our desires fulfilled. So Tripureśī is the Chakreshwari of the second avarana. Of course, when we hear that she can grant all our desires and hopes, those of us who are still in that materialistic way will probably think that that means every one of our desires will come true if we utter some mantra and get there. But actually, when a sadhaka proceeds in that, they are able to, with the Trailokya Mohana Chakra, if they are doing that further in the sadhana, then they are able to let go of their fascination with the gross objects. And when they move to the second avarana, they are able to let go of their fascination with the subtle objects, like wanting fame, like wanting success. At that point, that sadhaka realizes that they are good as they are, and there is nothing more to seek outside. Everything that they are seeking is already within themselves, and that is the kind of cleansing that sadhana will bring. And therefore, with that, they are able to proceed further in their path to liberation. Jayatsenā. Jaya means victory, Sena means army. So she has a winning army, or she has an army that can lead to victory. Nistraiguṇyā. Nihi means negation. Traiguṇyā means the 3 gunas, which are attributes. So there is tamogunam, there is rajogunam, and there is sattvagunam. So tamogunam is associated with lethargy and inactivity. And rajogunam is all passion and movement, and sattvagunam is a balanced, calm mind. Everything in this universe has the mix of these attributes. That's what characterizes that. And when one or other is high, then that defines the way that particular thing will behave, be it human beings or be it animals. That's what it will define. And she is someone who is devoid of these 3 gunas. As the ultimate reality, she is in a level that is before these 3 gunas. Therefore, she is devoid of all these attributes. That's why we call the ultimate reality Nirguna Brahmam. That means it has no attributes. Obviously, the ultimate reality is undescribable and it has no attributes. Parāparā. So, para, apara. Param means the ultimate reality. Aparam means the world. So, para is something that is beyond human experience. So you can call that as transcendent. And aparam means something that humans can feel and experience or can relate to, and therefore the entire world, all the gross objects, we are able to, with our senses, we are able to perceive. So the aparam is immanent, something that is within all of us, that is something that we can all perceive. Para is something that we cannot perceive. So transcendent and immanent, and she is both of those. And parāparā can also be seen as the connection between these two. So the para is one way to look at it, is it's the subject, right? Whatever that we are looking at in the Triputi, it is the subject. Apara is the object, and parāparā is the relationship between that subject and object. So she is both the transcendent and immanent reality. Satya GYNānā'nandarūpā. Satya GYNānā'nandarūpā. Satyam means truth. Jnanam means knowledge, consciousness or awareness. Anandam means bliss. Rupa means embodiment of. So she is the embodiment of truth, consciousness and bliss. Sāmarasya parāyaṇā. Sāmarasya means, sāmarasam means harmony or oneness. Parāyaṇā means devoted to. So she is devoted to harmony and oneness. Now let's go back to this, all these namas, and there is another way to look at it. Mārtāṇḍa bhairavārādhyā. Bhairava is also a representative for persistent effort, right? So you can look at Mārtāṇḍa bhairavārādhyā as when she is worshipped with persistence, when we persevere in the sadhana, then she appears like the Mārtāṇḍa, who is the sun, and the sun is a dispeller of darkness. So then when that light comes in, the individual is able to let go of their attachment with the gross world objects. The gross world objects could be, our house, our relationships, our job. Those are all gross world objects. So the individual is able to, when they are persevering in her sadhana, the individual is able to let go of that fascination. When they let go of that fascination, then what happens? They get the blessings of mantriṇī or mātāṇḍa, with whose blessings they are able to then get the blessings of tripureśī in the second avarana, where they come to recognize that they are good as they are, and therefore they have no more desires, and they are fulfilled at that point. And with that fulfillment, with the winning army, the rest of the yoginis in the Sri Chakra, they are able to proceed forward into their sadhana and attain a state where they are beyond the three gunas. So the state where they are beyond three gunas is called as turya. It's a meditative state where they have recognized that she is both the para and apara. So until that point, as long as we are influenced by all these gunas, we always have to put things into like, don't like, good, bad. But if you see, everything, whether it is a good or bad, whether it is fierce or calm, everything is a version of the ultimate reality. So everything is the same. And in the Turiya state, that sadhaka will come to realize that. If you see, this is what Rudram is also saying. By calling the Shiva as Rudra, what we are trying to say is, he's the Rudra who is angry, who is fearful, who is fierce, and he's also the Shiva who is calm. Whether we call it good or bad, everything is the same, and it is all a manifested form of that ultimate reality. And that kind of acceptance will come to that particular sadhaka. So when someone reaches that Turiya state and starts to see Devi in everything, then what happens? They become able to perceive the truth. When we say reality, reality actually is our perception of what happened. So the reality can be different for everybody, but truth never changes. Truth is always one. And it is because of this Maya that all the manifested forms are not able to appreciate the truth. Rather, they live in a reality, and that reality also has many sides to it. So that sadhaka is able to appreciate the truth, and therefore their awareness has increased, and what it leads to is the bliss. And then they become devoted to that oneness, because now they start seeing everything in the universe as one, and there is no differentiation between them and the world. It is all merged into that single universal consciousness. Kapardinī. Kapardinī means wife of Kapardha. Kapardha is Shiva, and in Sanskrit, Kapardam means one who has knotted hair. So we all know Shiva has Jatamudi, and then he is tied it up. So why did Shiva tie up his hair? So there was once a king called Sagara, and this king Sagara did a Ashwamedha Yajna. So as you all know, Ashwamedha Yajna is conducted by a king in order to win over many territories. What the king will do is he will let the horse roam around a territory. If the king who's holding that territory lets the horse pass, then that means that king has accepted the supremacy of this king who's doing Ashwamedha Yajna. If somebody holds back the horse, that means they are declaring war, and therefore they will go have a battle. Whoever wins is the winner. So this is the normal process for Ashwamedha Yajna. So King Sagara sent this horse. And Indra was watching all of this happening. And Indra is always watching anyone who's doing Ashwamedha Yajna. Why? Because if someone does 100 Ashwamedha Yajna, then they become eligible for Indra's job. So for his job security, he keeps a watch on anybody doing Ashwamedha Yajna. And when he saw King Sagara doing Ashwamedha Yajna, Indra took that horse and he tied it in sage Kapila's ashram. And sage Kapila was in deep penance, so he didn't know anything that was happening. So now this horse has gone missing. So King Sagara has 60,000 sons, and now they are going everywhere to find where this horse is. And finally they find the horse in sage Kapila's ashram. So once they find the horse in sage Kapila's ashram, they mistakenly assume sage Kapila got the horse and tied it there. And according to the Kshatriya Dharma, if you hold the horse, that means you're declaring battle. Therefore, they want to fight with sage Kapila. And when sage Kapila hears all this commotion, he's opening his eyes and he's seeing that these people are trying to attack. And because he has a lot of power through penance, with one look, he is able to get all these 60,000 people reduced to ashes. So they're all dead. And a descendant of King Sagara, then King Anshuman, he comes to know about all of this, and he realizes that it was wrong to go and attack sage Kapila. So he comes to sage Kapila and he says, how can I repent for this? What prayachittam can I do? I want to make sure all these ancestors of mine, their souls go back to the moksha. They deserve the right thing. And we are also very sorry. How can I do that? So then sage Kapila says that the only way that these souls can go to moksha is if you bring the Ganga from the heaven to the earth. That is how they can get prayachittam for what they did. And so King Anshuman tries it, but he is not successful. And then further line, there is a descendant of King Anshuman who is called as Bhagīratha. So this Bhagīratha is able to do a immense penance, and it was very intense, and with that Brahma was pleased, and therefore Brahma said, okay, Ganga can come down. But Ganga was not willing to come down to the earth. She thought it was insulting for someone who lives in the Swargaloka to come down. So Brahma also knew that, and Ganga decided that she will come with a heavy force. And that heavy force of Ganga was not something that earth can take. And therefore, Brahma said, I'll allow you to have Ganga on the earth, but her force is something that's formidable and nobody can control her. And there is only one person who can help you. Go ask Shiva how to make that happen. So then Bhagīratha goes to Shiva and he is requesting Shiva's help. And so Shiva agrees to help. So when Ganga came down from the Swarga to earth, if it had come directly to the earth can't take it. That force was too much. So Shiva caught her in his hair and knotted. And once she was inside Shiva's knotted hair, she was controlled. All her force was contained. And from there, Shiva released her as 7 streams. And that's why today we also call Ganga as Bhagīrathi. And the penance that Bhagirath did was immense, and that's why today if someone takes a extremely hard work and achieves something that is impossible, we say Bhagirath Prayatnam. So he had to knot his hair so that he can control the force of Ganga and leave it to the earth in a way that earth can deal with it. So as kapardinī, she is wife of Kaparda. Kalāmālā. So kala means arts and mala means garland or string. So she is a string of arts. It's said that there are 64 arts and she is the garland of all of those arts, or she is the totality of all of those arts. And we should not look at art as just something that we do as music and singing or dancing or something like that. Everything that we do, kala not just represents arts, it's also knowledge. So even our professional skills, the ability to excel in something is also part of that kala. So for everything, you have to be able to imbibe what needs to be done or gain that skill, the ability to grasp and acquire that skill and excel in it. So that is also part of the kala. And so kalāmālā can also be looked at in a slightly different way. Kala is, you can look at it as art or beauty. Ma means immense, la means bring. So she brings beauty, intense beauty to whatever we do. That means she helps us excel in any of the things that we do. Excel in our profession, excel in pursuing all our hobbies. All of that is possible because of her. Kāmadhuk. Kama means desire. Duk is a form of duha. Duha means to yield. So she is someone who yields all our desires. And we have seen Kamadhenu is something which will give you whatever you wish. The Kalpavriksha is something that will give you whatever you wish. So like that, she is a wish-fulfilling deity. So Lalitambika grants us everything that we desire. Kāmarūpiṇī. There are two ways to look at Kāmarūpiṇī. One, we all know Kama means Shiva. So Rūpiṇī means form. So she is the form of Shiva. What this means is Shiva and Shakti are one and the same. We saw sāmarasya parāyaṇā. So she is devoted to oneness. And here she is none other than Shiva. And therefore in all our scriptures, Shiva and Shakti are always the same. Shakti equals Shiva, Shiva equals Shakti. No difference between the two. So that is one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is Kama is desire, Rūpiṇī means form. She is able to take any form that she desires. And as we all know, Lalitambika is Shakti, and that Shakti is the manifestation ability. Therefore, she is able to take any form that she desires. With that, we've seen all the meanings of all the namas. Let's take a quick look at a story related to nama mārtāṇḍa. So, mārtāṇḍa is sun. So how did sun come to be called as mārtāṇḍa? He is called mārtāṇḍa because he came from mrita anda. Mrita means dead, anda means egg. So sun came out of a dead egg and therefore he is called as mārtāṇḍa. So Sage Kashyapa married 12 of Daksha's daughters, and Aditi is one of the wives and one of the daughters of Daksha. And Sage Kashyapa really liked Aditi because of her behavior and how much she helped, etc. Therefore, Sage Kashyapa asked her what she wants, and she asked for a boon for a very good son, and she got Lord Indra as her son. And Aditi was very happy because Lord Indra is the king of Devas. He is very powerful, he is very good looking, he has all the riches with him, and he is also very attached to his mother. So Aditi was very proud of Lord Indra. Aditi also had a sister called Diti and Danu. And Diti did not have children for a long time. And so Diti always wanted a child, and therefore she went to Sage Kashyapa and said, I want to have children as well. And Diti was always very jealous of Aditi, especially because she had Indra. So she wanted to make sure that her children are better than Indra. So she asked Sage Kashyapa for 2 kids, and she wanted to make sure both those kids can conquer Indra. So Sage Kashyapa granted that. But she was in a hurry to get those children, and she pressurized him to give her those children during Pradoshakala. And Sage Kashyapa said it's not a good idea to have the children during Pradosha Kala, then they will have negative qualities. But Aditi would not listen, and therefore she had two sons, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, those two sons. But they, because they were conceived during this time, they all had asura qualities. So Diti's sons are called as Daityas and they are asuras. Similarly, Dhanu's sons are also called as Danavas and they are also asuras. So they don't have Deva Gunam, they have the Asura Gunam. And obviously they were very powerful and they were able to conquer all the three worlds, and therefore Indra lost his kingdom. And this bothered Aditi immensely. And so she was feeling very sad, and therefore she did heavy penance towards ultimate reality. And her request was to have another son who's able to help Lord Indra win back his kingdom. So the ultimate reality blessed her, and therefore she conceived, and she was pregnant. And but Aditi did not let go of her penance even after becoming pregnant. She was doing all the fasting, and she was also undertaking lot of austerities physically, and usually pregnant women do not do all of this. Seeing all of this, Sage Kashyapa was very worried that she's taking on so much hardship during her pregnancy. So he reaches out to her and says, if you continue doing like this, you're going to kill the baby. The baby in your womb is going to be born dead. That's what he says. And with Sage Kashyapa's power, immediately Aditi delivers, and that baby is born dead. It's not moving. But Aditi is again able to request help from the ultimate reality, from which the baby becomes alive. So because he was born dead and then became alive, he is called as mārtāṇḍa. So that is the birth story of Surya. And it is said that Surya then helped Indra, and Indra was able to get back his kingdom. And if you look at another story, so whenever we see Surya, that's where the radiance, because he was blessed with by the ultimate reality, is born with such radiance and such tejas. And Surya's tejas is such that nobody can bear it. So once when they were doing Samudra Manthan, as we all know, Amrita was available. Amrita was found from the milk ocean, and there was a big fight between the Devas and Asuras as to who will get the Amrita. And Vishnu took the form of Mohini, and he was able to make all the Devas form a line, and he was distributing all the Amritam to the Devas first. Asuras turned and come. But one of the Asuras called Rahu actually found a way to cut the line, and he was standing near Surya and Chandra. So when Mohini was giving all that, there are so many devas, so Mohini was giving everybody who was standing in that line, and Surya and Chandra find out that one Asura somehow got into the line. So they immediately go and tell Vishnu, who is in the form of Mohini, that there is a Asura who got the Amritam. And so immediately Vishnu is taking the Sudarshana Chakra and trying to kill that. But before that Sudarshana Chakra could hit, this Rahu had taken one drop of that Amrita, therefore had become immortal, and therefore the Sudarshana Chakra couldn't kill Rahu, but instead Rahu became Rahu and Ketu. And so Rahu knows that it was Surya and Chandra who told on him, and therefore as a revenge, Rahu used to go and swallow Surya and Chandra every now and then. This is what this is how our scriptures explain the eclipse. When Rahu catches Surya or Chandra, Rahu or Ketu, then it is called as Grahanam. And obviously Surya and Chandra will wriggle out of it. And this was happening too often, and this was making Surya very upset. And so Surya did not like this at all, and now this will be never ending because Rahu won't die because he is immortal. So, and Surya also was very upset with the rest of the Devas and all the gods because they were all watching and nobody was doing anything about it. So then Surya decided, you know what, I'm frustrated, so I'm going to rise tomorrow, and with my radiance I'm going to burn down the entire universe. And already this intent of Surya was being felt by many people as there is some impending danger. So everybody is requesting help from Brahma, and at that time Brahma decides that there is only one person who can contain Surya and who can control him, and that person was called as Aruna. So he says, let Aruna go to Surya and convince him and make him not want to burn this. And Aruna does that. Actually, Aruna is also one of the sons of Sage Kashyapa. So Sage Kashyapa's wife is Vinata, and Vinata also had another sister called Kadru. So Vinata and Kadru both requested the boon of having more children from Sage Kashyapa. And when he asked, Kadru said, I want 1,000 sons. And so he granted that, and Kadru had 1,000 snakes as her sons. And then when they asked Vinata, Vinata said, I don't want 1,000, I only want 2 sons, but I want those 2 sons to be very powerful and strong. So immediately Sage Kashyapa agreed, and because she wanted very powerful sons, it was going to take a long time for her to have those babies. So Vinata laid those eggs, and those eggs had to be incubated and they will hatch on their own. So the time was passing, it was taking a long time. Many hundreds of years had passed, and Vinata got a bit impatient because she already saw this Kadru with 1,000 sons. She wanted to have her son too. So without waiting for the egg to hatch, she went and broke open one egg. And out of that came a form that was, the top portion was fully developed, but the bottom portion was not developed. And that is Aruna. And still that Aruna is very strong, but Aruna was very disappointed that his mother broke open the egg and did not give him the ability to fully develop. And it's said that he cursed her to become a servant of Kadru, and also said that if she did not break open the other egg and allowed it to go for the full 500 years that it needs to hatch, then she will get a very strong and powerful son who will relieve her of that servitude. And that son is none other than Garuda. So Garuda helped his mother get out of that servitude. So that is Aruna. And because Vinata asked so, Aruna has immense power, and he is the only one who's able to take the radiance of sun. And Aruna works with the sun. And if you see, always sun is depicted as being on a chariot, and Aruna is the charioteer of the sun, and he's sitting in front, and he is someone who's able to take that radiance of the sun. And so Aruna convinces sun to not burn down the universe. So also sun is married to Vishwakarma's daughter. Vishwakarma's daughter is called as Sanya. And when she reached the marriageable age, Vishwakarma conducted a Swayamvara. And Sanya was walking down that hall. All the suitors are sitting on the sides, and she's walking down the hall deciding who to marry. And when she sees Surya, she immediately likes him. And similarly, when Surya saw Sanya, he immediately liked her. So it was love at first sight for both of them, and therefore Sanya put the garland on Surya, and therefore they both married. And Surya loved his wife dearly, and Sanya was also very loving towards Surya. So they had first the Shraddha Devan, who is a Manu, and then they also had twins, Yama and Yami. Yama is the god of death, and Yami is the river Yamuna. So Sanya had these 3 kids with Surya. As time passed, one thing that was troubling Sanya was that of Surya's radiance. There was such radiance and such heat that was emanating from Surya, and Sanya found it very difficult to go close to Surya. And that was something that was exhausting her. The heat was exhausting her. So she did not want to be there in the presence of Surya, and she wanted to go away somewhere. So what she did is she created a look-alike of her, and that is called as Chaya. So she placed Chaya, she left in the palace, and Sanya went away to her father's house, who is Vishwakarma. Once she went to the father's house, her father, when he realized what she had done, he was really shocked. He said, you know what, a woman's place is with her husband, and he's such a loving husband, you should have been with him. And creating a look-alike and leaving another woman in your place and all is not done at all. You should think about the consequences of these actions. So you should immediately go back to your husband. But Sanya was so exhausted, and she did not want to go back to Lord Surya. And she realized her father will not let her stay. Therefore, what Sanya did is she took the form of a horse, a mare, and she was roaming around wherever she pleases. Surya was none the wiser, and he thought Chaya was his wife, Sanya. He didn't know it was a look-alike, rather he thought it was Sanya herself. And therefore they continued to live happily, and Chaya delivered Sarvani Manu, and then she also delivered Shani Bhagavan, and then she delivered the river Tapti. So they had 3 children. And time was passing by, and Yama noticed that his mother was always partial towards the 3 kids, the Manu, Sarvani Manu, and Shani and Tapti. And so one day he gets very upset, and he is having a quarrel with his mother, and then he says, I will kick you. And he did not kick his mother, but he just said, I will kick you. Immediately Chaya got very upset, and she said, may your feet be infected and fall off. And Yama was shocked at the curse from the mother. It was a very severe curse. Not having a leg is a big problem. So he was surprised, and that he was shocked that she cursed like that. And so Yama goes to Lord Surya and says, you know what, mother cursed me like this, and I'm very shocked. She's always very partial to the 3 kids, and she's giving me such curses. And so Surya immediately relieves Yama of that curse and lessens the intensity of that curse. And then he goes to Chaya and he says, why are you doing this? You should treat all your children the same. Why did you curse them like this? This is not something a mother does. And as they are having this discussion, suddenly Chaya blurts out that she is not Sanya, rather she is Chaya, and that Sanya had run away from that place. So that is the first time Surya gets to know that it is not his wife. So Surya is really upset and he's very angry. So he goes to Vishwakarma's house and he says, now you tell me where my wife is, otherwise I'll burn you down. And then Vishwakarma says that, she was finding it very difficult to be with you because of your radiance and brilliance, and that's why she ran away. So Surya decides to go in search of her, but Vishwakarma says, unless you reduce your radiance, you will not be able to get your wife back. And therefore Vishwakarma, he is the architect of all the devas. He can make anything, and therefore he reduces the radiance of of Surya to 1/16 of what was there, and therefore Surya becomes less radiant, and he says, now you should be able to go find your wife. And it is said that Surya did not allow Vishwakarma to change anything about his feet, and that's why Surya's feet is exactly the same radiance and it's always kept covered because people cannot take it. So Surya then also takes a form of a horse, and then he's going in search of his wife, and then he finds her. And initially Sanya is a bit worried about this horse following her around, but as they get closer, Sanya realizes that it is Surya, her husband, has come in search of her. And both the horses touch their noses, and out of that were born 2 babies whom we call as Ashwini Kumaras, and they also had another son called Revanta, who is considered to be the god of horses. So then Surya returns to the normal form, and Sanya sees that his radiance has reduced to a point where she is able to be with him. Therefore Sanya returns back to Surya. So Surya lives with his 2 wives, Sanya and Chaya. So as we always see Surya, he is on a chariot, and in that chariot there is a charioteer who is Aruna, and the chariot is being drawn by 7 horses. That is usually the depiction of Surya. And if you see throughout Rigveda, Surya is a revered deity. Why is Surya revered? If you see this earth, life exists in this earth only because of the sun. If there was no sun, there will be no food on earth. And if there was no sun, there will not be any water cycle on the earth. So Surya is someone who gives selflessly to everything. And we all call Sunday as a holiday. All of us look forward to that. But the sun has no holiday. Sun is very duty conscious. Every single day he rises. So if someone did their duty and someone gave selflessly to others, what else can you call them but God? So therefore sun is revered. And sun is not just the source of nourishment for all of us by giving food and water, but sun is also very important for the mental health of human beings. So on a cloudy day, many people may feel depressed or gloomy. When the sun is out and bright, people feel fresh. So that vitamin D is very important, and sun is very important for mental health. And if you see, there is a very powerful stotram of sun called Aditya Hridayam. So Aditya Hridayam was given to Rama by sage Agastya. And it was at a time where Rama was exhausted from the battle, and he saw the enormous army that Ravana had, and Rama was worried. He was wondering, how am I going to win this battle? So in Aditya Hridayam they say, Tato yuddha parishrantam samare chintaya stitam ravanam chagrato drishtva yuddhaya samupastitam. So Rama is worried, and at that time Agastya is coming, reminding him of what a great warrior he is, and then he is talking about this Aditya Hridayam. In Aditya Hridayam it says, when you chant that daily, Jayavaham jape nityam akshayam paramam shivam. So if you chant it daily, the person will always be successful, and it is a unending prosperity. Akshayam paramam shivam. So it will never end. The prosperity will never end. But also it says, Chinta shoka prashamanam ayurvardhanam uttamam. Chinta means worry, shokam means sadness. So it will dispel all the worry, sadness, fear that a person can have. And ayurvardhanam uttamam, it is also promoting longevity. So Aditya Hridayam is one that everybody can chant. Thinking about the sun, praying towards the sun will dispel their darkness. It will bring all the clarity and mental wisdom, and it will also relieve people of the stress from the anxiety, worry and fear. So we call Surya as Pratyaksha Daivam, means the God that is in front of our eyes. And in order to worship to Surya, we don't have to make any great effort. If we look out of our window, there is the sun every single day. So Surya is someone who's easy to pray to. And if you see, all our cultures always have Surya Namaskaram as the first thing to do in the morning. So let us all pray to Surya, and may his blessings be upon all of us. That's all for today. Thank you.